I can't think. What am I supposed to?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official MANxiety podcast here.
I like that. It's very kind of slow and mellow. It's not like a typical comedians podcast where they burst on the scene with loud,
That's it, with loud
just aggression.
Welcome to the MANxiety podcast. We're all fucking depressed and shit. No. Listen, I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad you're doing this with me.
Yeah,
we're
man.
doing this together. I think it's something that needs to happen nowadays. That's not really talked about. The mental health of men.
Yeah, at all. And it's funny. I mean, you're Corey Brooks.
I'm Corey Brooks.
You're Corey
Mick
Brooks.
Thomas.
I'm Mick Thomas. And we both have separate podcasts out of this.
Yeah.
Right? Which are just wild, like they're wild and kind of off the rails a little bit. So this one isn't. This one is kind of, there's going to be, because we're both comedians, right? We're both comedians. So this one is kind of not necessarily going to be always funny, but that's the goal, right? That's the goal, just to kind of talk about something that nobody's really talking about.
Right, exactly.
You
I
know?
mean, some people find it funny enough that two comedians are talking about, mental health.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, no one talks about it enough. It's a lot of shit that we go through as men that women don't understand and that other men out there are afraid to come forward to. So hopefully we can help out with.
Yeah, and it's not an anti-woman podcast.
No, not by any means. Not by any means.
It doesn't mean we don't want women listening. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like if a woman writes to us,
Yeah.
and go, "Hey, I loved your episode." I'm like, "Hey, get off! It's got nothing to do with you. This is a shelter.
Feminist.
This is
Yeah.
a shelter for men. Not at all, because we just like women to kind of also listen to, maybe understand. Maybe it's a great way for women to go like, "Oh shit, I never looked at it like that before," or it's mainly kind of just for the lads.
Yeah.
That's what it's, and it's two lads talking about what we go through, and I was lucky enough, because it's always been something that I've been interested in, and I've suffered from depression since I was, go back as far as I can remember, since I was 10 years old. And I've always been fascinated with it, but when the pandemic hit, I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go and just get something.
Yeah.
With this, because I've studied it. I watched 100 TED Talks on. I've read a ton of books on this stuff. I mean, audiobooks. I don't want to sound like I'm one of these professors who sit there with glasses and I'm a high intellect guy.
Right.
But when I go on long runs, as I used to do, I would listen to audiobooks on it and that kind of stuff. So I said, why don't I just get a qualification? The pandemic is here. I can't do shows. I can't do anything. So I went off and I got so I submitted all my stuff. I'm just waiting back on my results of my final tests. And so as of right now, I'm not certified to talk about any. I mean, like I will be, but I'm not really going to give advice.
Right.
That kind of way.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at least the third or fourth episode is when we can officially start. No.
Yeah. The second.
We're going to
episode.
display it in the background here. His certification.
But no, I was going to be a drug and alcohol counselor. And then halfway through, I just said, you know what? Let me change it. Let me. Not that I change. It's still the same schooling, but I wanted to focus more on depression for young men. For dealing with for young men, because it's one of those things. It's not, and we're not by any means doctors. So if you're listening to this,
not.
like, go get help. First of all, I want to say that up front. Go get help. And whatever we say, don't take it as gospel. Like I said, we are two comedians too. There's gonna be some silly crap said on this too. So just don't take it. Don't take everything to heart.
Yes, exactly. And I think there's no one better to address it than someone who's gone through depression or still going through depression. You can't. It's also a field you can't help somebody with unless you know what it feels like to be in that kind of state.
Yeah, man, it's a hard thing to deal with. It's definitely the hardest thing to do is talk about it, and it's based on, especially for men, the way society is.
Yeah.
Right. That like even if like you turn on television, like all the sitcoms, right, on television, men are just idiots.
Yep.
Right. And it's okay. Like King of Queens is my perfect example. And I know Kevin James is a name drop there. But like in his show, like his wife, who is like really attractive in the early episodes, Really attractive. She's a slim, gorgeous woman. She's sassy, but she's always coming, you fat idiot, you moron, you overweight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's if you had a show the opposite where you had a guy just calling his wife, you fat idiot, you fat moron.
Would never work. It'd
would
be canceled within the first 3 minutes.
Protested.
That's it.
Everything.
The screen would go blank.
Right.
You know?
That'd be it.
That'd be it.
But it's acceptable like that. You know, even stuff like our Viagra commercial. And I call them our Viagra commercials because you know what, women, you don't deal with that. Like, you don't deal with it. Sorry. But it's even the Viagra commercials, like we have women speaking for us. You know what I mean? It's a hot girl on a bed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the idiot's behind, like, putting up drywall like a caveman.
She looks back. Rick can finally please me the way I want to be pleased. As you sit there trying to do his honey to-do list in the background.
Yeah, how maybe it's your problem.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the reason he just can't get it up. How about that, ladies?
Hard.
How about you take some responsibility?
Wear that lacy underwear you haven't worn in fucking 20 years of your marriage.
Yeah, put down the box of Cheetos.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Put down the box of Cheetos and maybe put a bit of effort into it. You know what I mean? No, but it's like, so society like that, it doesn't allow us to talk about stuff like that, right? It's like it or not, I think it's 132 suicides a day that are men.
And that's crazy if you do the math of that.
Yeah,
you know?
which is like, that where you losing 132 lads a day. You know what I mean? Just because of anxiety and depression.
Those numbers are astronomical.
Yeah,
that's astronomical
and unnecessary. And nobody's talking about it.
Nope.
You're not allowed to talk about it, right? Well, not that you're not allowed to talk about it, but it's like, listen, when you're wired as a man, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna use that man. Now, this is nothing to be, you know, and now especially we're living in a times where society is changing. And this is, I'm sorry if this triggers anybody. You know, I'm not sorry. But my goal isn't to trigger anybody. But there's a movement now where anybody can say something and it becomes part of the zeitgeist, right? It becomes part of life.
Right.
So you can say things like, so many words that are thrown around, and I've attended a lot of Alcoholics Anonymous classes, right? I've been in them as someone from a family member who maybe could have been an alcoholic, right? So I sat there and I told my stories too. It was all part of my schooling that I had to attend these things.
Right.
And you don't just sit there like, you know, taking notes. You get involved because listen, we're all, I think almost 100% therapists. I'm guessing that, by the way, are also have went through trauma and they go into it because they want to help heal themselves by helping other people. So I've been in these classes, right? And you just go and you see this, all these things that, like, terms like narcissist is thrown around way too easy. Like, you know what I mean? In society, like white supremacist, right, is called all the time. Like, if you have a political stance, and this is not political in any way, but you're a white supremacist. Like, no, look up white supremacists.
Right. Yeah.
Look up Nazi. Don't call me a Nazi. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, watch Schindler's List. I'm not anything like that.
You
like,
have fucking gel in your hair.
You know what I mean? I'm not like that. So one of the terms that gets thrown around a lot is like toxic masculinity. And so because of
I
that,
hate that term.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
I hate that term.
What is it, right? So it's stopping a man from having his instinct urges, and I don't mean that in a sexual way, but as in, you know, I want to I like fast shit. I like action movie. Like, it's just in your DNA.
Yeah,
it's not, you're not marched.
No, I mean, what did they do back in the day, years and years ago? What was it that a man did, right? They went to war. They raided other, you know,
right,
colonies and shit like that, and rape their fucking wives and say, like, not that's fucked up, but it's in the DNA for
I don't
action,
give you
war, and all
to
shit,
say
you know?
that.
Yeah,
that was, you know, wrong. We know it was wrong.
Yeah, that was very wrong. But it's fabricated in a man's DNA. You know, we like competition. We like you know, action movies, as you said. It's just in us, and you can't take it out of us. It's
right, and
it's evolution, man.
It's evolution, and then that's considered now toxic masculinity, which, again, I hate to use the term beta male versus alpha male, but it's kind of a way to describe what I'm saying. So I don't mean it like that, but
I think a beta male has been more raised by a mother than a father, and maybe I'm wrong by that.
I think you're right. It could be that, but I think beta male, my understanding of it is just someone that's not like you and I, right? We go boxing.
Yeah.
We like fights. We go to the gym. wired that way, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's considered like an alpha male kind
Right.
of thing. You know what I mean? Like if you look at a movie, right? You look at a movie, you could just, and this is just all hypothetical and stereotypical, but like you'll go like, you know, Wolverine, Rambo, you know what I mean? They're like they're alpha males. And then you'll watch like a romantic comedy with someone like with a Bill Hader or an Owen Wilson, like that's considered like a beta male.
Right.
So I think what happened was somewhere along the line, it's like once you put something on Twitter, everyone gets behind it because for some reason the internet is gospel, right? So these guys went on and they were considered beta males. Again, that's nothing wrong with them. That's their role in life, or that's the way they choose to live their life, which is fine. That's how they're wired. And then they kind of just went after guys who were not like that. And then people who don't do any background checks, looking into it, and like, oh, okay, so alpha males are the enemy then? All right, we'll get them. Yeah. So we as men then have to deal with, like, now we're wrong for being ourselves.
Yep.
Right? There's something wrong with us for being ourselves. Like when I go to the gym, I go to the gym to not because like I want to look good with my shirt off. Like who am I taking my shirt off for?
Yeah.
Where am I going with my shirt off? Right? I don't go to the beaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who am I taking my shirt? So I don't really. It's not about looking good. It's I go, dude. I got issues in my head, and a great way to deal with depression is like I work out hard for 6 days a week. And again, that's not like you're.
And there's a science behind it. The endorphins,
100%,
everything that you're releasing
100%.
from working out is to help with that. You know? It's a chemical imbalance in your brain too. And that's what working out does, and keeping yourself motivated. It's much, I don't know, it's much easier to just, it's harder to go to the gym for a lot of people, right?
Right.
It is.
It is.
So that within itself, it's with depression, it's a constant ongoing thing that you're battling, but you need to get ahead of it. Like you're doing, you know what I mean? Working, I'm probably talking in circles here, but
no.
What you got to do, what am I trying to say here?
Well, I think working out has been proven to be more beneficial than a lot of, not all, depending on your situation. Working out has been proven to be more effective than a lot of antidepressants.
And I believe that.
Right? And it has been proven. And I mean,
look at all these antidepressants. The warning on them may cause suicidal thoughts. Now, why would you want to take, and people take it out there, it's fine if it's working for you. I'm not against it. Me personally, I never would want to try them. I would never, I don't believe in them personally, right? So that's just my personal belief.
In what?
In taking the approach to going to a doctor and taking the pills first before trying anything else.
Right.
You know, I mean, what is a warning for going to work out? May reduce stress, may release endorphins, may make you feel good about yourself, right? But you go to the doctor and he's going to give you these antidepressant pills, and it may cause suicidal thoughts. It may cause everything that you're trying to escape.
Right.
So right then and there, it's like, why do that to yourself? It's just an easier way out. It's like, it's going to help. I don't know. I believe you should try other channels before you start with the drugs, but it may not be for everybody. It may not. Who am I to? Someone has deeper depression than I may have. So who am I to say anything? It's just my personal belief.
Right, and that's it too. It depends on your level. Like I think if you have, like, depression is one thing, right? We can have depression, and there's different levels of it, right? There's depression where your dog died, right? My dog died, and you're like, kind of, that dog was my best friend, and you know, this sucks, and it's like but that's just sad, right?
Yeah.
But it is a form of depression, right? But it's not like something that's kind of diagnosed, right? And then you have stuff that comes from childhood trauma that you've never dealt with,
right?
Okay, it's in there, it's in your head, you can't get to it, you can't work it out. That depression is there, and that's haunting you your whole life. And then you have like clinical depression, right, where it's just a chemical imbalance in your brain, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just how you're born. The wires go this way, right, instead of that way, and you're wired up for depression. So if you have any suicidal thoughts, like, at all, it's like, then I think you should go see a doctor. Definitely go see a doctor. Go on, like, get help for it, because I think some antidepressants, and I think I heard Jordan Peterson talk about this. He just said, like, take an antidepressant, because it's not. What are the worst can happen to you? What are the side effects? Are terrible. You might gain weight, but you'll still be alive, right? You'll gain weight,
I got
but you'll
your
still
point
be
there.
alive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. You're right.
Absolutely. So I would definitely, I wouldn't. It depends on where you are with it. You know what I mean? But for what we're talking about, like, if you're a guy and you're going through life, or a girl, by the way, this works for you too. If you're just going through life with depression, you don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like your living situation, there's change in your life that you don't know how to make them, right? There's changes, like, I'm in this job, I don't know I'm just not happy. I get up every morning, I go to this, I'm not appreciated. I can't quit because I have all this stuff over here that I got to pay for. I got these people who depend on me. Right now, you're kind of just in a cycle, and then depression will come over you. So then, these are when you like, listen, get to the gym, like get to the gym, work out, you know, change a lot of things, do a lot, like get outside an awful lot, all that kind of stuff helps. But yeah, I think that's where, I think that's what you're talking about with the gym. But that goes back again to what we're saying about like how toxic masculinity. We're wrong for wanting to go to the gym,
right?
You know what I mean? And that's it stinks, and so that's why it's kind of hard.
It's almost like you go to the gym, you're automatically fat shaming everybody else that doesn't go to the gym.
You're fat shaming. You're a meathead.
You're a meathead. Exactly.
Right? You're a meathead. You're
tool,
in there, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going through your head.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you don't. Like I've been. There's been like nights where I just got up in the middle of the night. Like quite recently, I got up in the middle of the night and I just fucking ran.
Mm-hmm.
I ran on Long Island. You know, I'm not saying it wasn't safe, but it was like I just ran.
Yeah. And
I think I did 7 miles at a fast pace that I'd never done that pace in my life. And I used to long distance run and all that stuff. But I never ran like that before. And it's, so you get up, man, and it's like, you know, you've no choice but to do it. You know what I mean? Like you have that. So but to go to the gym, it's toxic. So that's hard enough as it is, right? And then we got no choice but to go like, all right, I guess I am, because you're not allowed, we're in a society now, we're not allowed to stand up for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, you're a Nazi. Like, no, I'm not a fucking Nazi. You're a toxic masculine. Why? What makes me toxic?
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're not allowed to talk about it. And that's the problem. And that's the biggest point of this, you know, podcast, and that I'm hoping to do, is that it's okay to, because even me, for someone who's dealt with it, and you know, I talk to a therapist, and that's like the biggest thing I can tell people. And therapy used to be really expensive. It's not. You can go, like, there's an app you can go on, like BetterHelp.
Yep. There's tons of apps now.
Yeah, you go BetterHelp, and it's like, I don't want to plug them. They're not a sponsor of the show. I mean, if you want to sponsor the show, BetterHelp, by all means. But you can get like a therapist, and you go on there and they'll find someone for you. Like, they'll find a therapist for you that works with BetterHelp. You Skype, you Zoom in. And if you don't like that therapist, like after like 2 or 3 sessions,
you can change. You
can
swipe left.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Swipe left. Like, now in the middle of some, tell me about your father. Too soon.
Too soon. You swipe left on the therapist.
Hello, I'm Dr. Hunt. Swipe. I don't like your hair. But yeah, I mean, look, it's. I keep trying to lose the point. Oh yeah, but we're not allowed to talk about it. So I said, go to a therapist, go to BetterHelp. It's so affordable. Like, it's so, again, everyone, and they'll work with your budget. Yep. You know, but like, my point is that we're not allowed to talk about it. Even when we watch action movies growing up as kids, right?
Yep.
When you watch, like, it was always like Stallone or
James Bond movies, right?
Especially James
like
Bond.
Fucking...
Right? James Bond, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme. And they always lost somebody.
Yep.
Like, somebody always died, but you never cut to them talking about it.
Right.
It's always...
You never.
Yeah, they're never like...
You know what's funny? And like,
they get mad, never sad.
Never sad, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's
just
so, and you're like, oh,
John Wick movies, right?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
And that's the number one movie of losing something, is losing your dog. And it's amazing, right? As men, the connection that we have with our dogs, because it's the thing that always loves you no matter what, never fights for you no matter what you do. You come home, it's always happy to see it, and it doesn't want to hear about, you know, talk about any bullshit or anything like that and get in the way, you know?
Yeah, I kind of have, part of me disagrees with that too, about the dog thing, because I think a lot of the stuff with the dogs is that I think they go where the stake is. Like,
I guess, but I'm saying, as far as or a screenshot off here, as far as a man, you know, how many times have you seen like grown alpha males and shit like that, but when it comes to seeing their dogs, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? That high pitched voice, and my fiance brought it up the other day. She was laughing at me because of the way I was talking to one of the dogs, and I'm like, it's so right, you know, you talk to them just like, I've seen it happen before from men that I went to their house, and I'm like, these most manly men of men, and they have little poodles that they're fucking baby talking to, and I'm like, it just shows you how much little things like that mean to somebody, because even that person, as successful as they are, you know the amount of shit that they must have in their head, how successful they are, and the shit that they got to deal with all day, because I know this person. Mm-hmm. You know, it's wild.
Yeah, you go to your dog. You get it, right, dog?
Yeah, you get it.
Me.
You get me.
My whole philosophy with that one is I don't trust animals. I think they go where the stake is. I really do. And I think, like, your dogs that hate me, I think if I show up one day with a nice steak, you know what I mean? And you're in the corner, like, wanting just like, come here, give me some love. And I got a nice ribeye.
Right, we're going to put this to the test.
I got to come out with a nice ribeye. You know what? I'm going to be we'll
put you in one of those fucking suits. that they wear when they're training the canines. Look like the Michelin man coming with pillows. We'll duct tape pillows to you and just hand them the steak and see what happens.
Yeah, but yeah, but so going back to to what I was saying, it's like, listen, if you do have, like, again, like, here's why it's hard also to be like to talk about it, is that the way, not only the way men are wired, but also the way women are wired, right? Because like, I've heard women have said it to me, and I've heard women say it to other people. Like, when a man is like, if a problem arises, they will use this argument. It's not all women, by the way. It's not all women. So don't start screaming at your radios or whatever you're doing, lady. Your stereo systems. It's do people have stereo systems anymore? They don't call it that, right?
I don't know.
Such
Stereo
an 80s
systems.
thing.
You buy the whole set.
It's got a subwoofer.
But
they, you know what the phrase they use? Why don't you just be a man?
Be a man.
Right?
Be a
just
man.
be a man.
Yeah. Be a man.
Okay, what is that then?
You
tell me what that is.
Yep.
Yeah, what is it? Just go be a man and handle your business.
Handle your business. Don't cry. Don't get upset. Don't just be a man.
Yeah.
Like,
country music, it's like, you put me onto that. Like, that's your fault. Like, it's just your fault. Now,
a lot of that shit's great, man, especially the outlaw country, because it just, it's about a man going through shit a lot of the times.
Right, but then if it goes to the woman's song, right? The woman's song, there's some heartbreak in there too. But but then it's an awful lot of, like, when in country, the women are never happy, right? And when they break up, they just go to town on the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're taking, like, Carrie Underwood takes a bat to a car, rips the seats apart. I'm listening to, like, the band Perry. I don't even know the band Perry, and she's got some line that's like, I should just shoot you and do the world a favor.
It's fucking dumb.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Shoot him? Like, shoot him? Why? Because he broke up with you?
Yep.
Because he broke up, or what? You know what I mean? Like, or he lied to you or something? Or what? Like, your dog loves him more? Like, so you're gonna shoot him? Like, if you have, like, I don't even know if even in hip hop, which is probably the most violent lyrics. Yeah. Hardcore hip hop, the most. I don't think anyone's saying like, I should shoot her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I don't know, because they can be canceled, get rid of it. But this bitch can fucking
no,
just
yeah,
turn
you're right.
around.
Never have any like hardcore songs. Even hardcore gangster rap has ever talked about shooting.
It's all like, all right, they do degrade you,
right.
like sexually, like, and talk crap about you, but they don't shoot you.
Yeah.
And in country, like, I heard one country song the other day, and this guy carved their initials into a tree, and then she took a chainsaw and cut the whole tree down. I'm like, you cutting trees down, you crazy lady? Like, just scrape off the thing.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? The bark of the tree, and you're cutting. But like that's my point, and that's acceptable. So not only are men getting the signals of, you know what I mean, like, you got to man up, you got to be a man, but women are like saying, hey, it's all right, by the way, you can shit on him when you break up. It's okay. Back to King and Queens, you can shit on him if he's this, because he's a guy. Yep.
And I think is going, be a man, especially like what gets me to is maybe it's just in my family or maybe it's just my family, but as you're young, as a guy. As a child, you're taught, you're going to get older, you're going to get a really good job, and you're going to take care of your family, your whole family.
Yeah, life's formula.
Right? Life's formula. And as a girl in a family, she's told by the uncles, by everybody else, find a good guy who takes care of you, completely takes care of you.
Yeah.
So where a woman's growing up thinking, I got to find Prince Charming.
Right.
And a man's growing up thinking, I got to fucking work hard, I got to take care of my whole entire family.
Yeah, and then
I think there's an issue within itself there too.
Yeah, there is. And then, like, I've got two friends in Ireland who wanted to propose. They're married now, but I remember just saying to them, like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" They wanted to propose, but they didn't have enough money to buy the ring yet.
Okay,
right. Which I'm like, wait, so you can't tell this woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with her because you didn't save up enough money? Like, then is that the one? Yeah. For you that you could just turn and go like, you know what? Let's get married. What do you mean? Yeah, we'll get married. We'll get the ring later and that kind of stuff. Like, how many people do that? Propose. Like, I saw your thing, and you proposed. And you did a beautiful thing, and you had the ring and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't have a ring when I did it. Yeah. I just said, yeah, you wanna? All right, and that was it.
I gave her. I guess the reason I did is because she waited 7 years for me to do so. So I kind of wanted to get the ring that she wanted. I could ring. Right? 7 years. 7 years. I know.
No, but my point is that my friends were afraid to ask these women to be with them because they didn't have, like, so already you're afraid of this woman. You're afraid of the pressure of not doing right by her. Already you're scared of what the society says you have to do because you know that that's what she was taught. When really fucking diamonds were set up by just some guy found a diamond and they just put it all in women's magazines. Diamonds were first advertised in I think the 50s. in women's magazines.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, have your man get you one of these. And then she would pressure this guy to get her. Like, men were buying diamonds for women until the 50s came along. Like, there you go. That look at. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, all right. And then that became the thing to do. You know, the ancient Romans, the Greeks, right? Vikings, like they were like getting on one knee and just taking out stones and go, hey, you marry me. You know what I mean? I was like, just some marketing company just thought, like, hey, we'll get rid of the diamonds this way. We'll give them to the women. They'll nag. We'll make it a society thing. And then all of a sudden men will feel like shit. They'll have to work 4 jobs to pay for it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I know a guy, he took on an extra job just so he could buy her the ring. I'm like, what do you do? Why are you
crazy.
working? So you're buying a job to give her a ring to never be home.
Yep.
Because you
don't work up to pay the ring.
Yeah, honey, you missed me? Just take a look at that left hand there. Then, you know, it's like, it's, but again, man, it goes back to like, we're not, the whole
social media plays a big, but that's going to be another topic.
That's
another episode,
social media is a whole new episode. But but the thing about it is like, listen, we're not allowed to talk about it. We're told that it's not okay to talk about it, right? It's like if you talk about it, it's like, shut the fuck up. Just get out there. What's wrong with you? Are you crying? You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, look at it's okay to cry, and that's the biggest one too. That people are told that like you're not supposed to cry, and you know, and that's huge cleanser. Like I do it all the time. Like
I do too. At least twice a month, and I'll.
I'm twice a day. You're an amateur.
I'm an amateur. You know, it may happen in the shower, it may happen in the car. It's just everything gets bottled up. Have that fucking breakdown, get through it. I'm like, all right, on with life again.
I'll watch a video of like a troop coming home.
And
I'll cry, and you could tell when I'm crying, like, that's more than the troop. There's a lot more going on. He's not that happy that a troop came home. You know what I mean? Like I'll watch a video of someone has a dead kid. I know that sounds cruel, but you know, they'll get a Build-A-Bear thing and they'll press the Build-A-Bear hand and you'll hear the kid's voice on it. The kid's dead.
Oh, it's fucking.
And I'll go. Now, by the way, I'm always alone when I do this, by the way. I'm not traumatizing my 2 kids. Like, what the fuck is wrong with daddy? It's just like, I'm in the corner, like, and I mean, like, I'm not just like wiping tears from my face. I'm like, it's like openly weeping. And dude, you feel great afterwards. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like you feel so good after it. It's like I just encourage movies. I will lose it during movies. I remember, like when I was a kid, like I didn't know what depression was. I just knew like why am I sad all the time?
Yeah,
I didn't know why I was sad, and I just remember, like I remember then getting into my late teens, and my sister, who was a baby when I was in my teens, she was a big Rugrats fan.
Okay,
and I just remember bawling at an episode of the Rugrats. Like, I mean, I had to leave the room and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with that idiot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of like, is he okay? It's like, what's wrong with that idiot? And I just remember bawling at Rugrats. And then thinking, number one, it's like, it's not good to be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's the opposite, man. It's just like.
It's great to be like that.
Yeah, I tell my son it's okay to cry. So why the hell am I not going to do it?
Because it's a problem. If you don't cry at all, that says something even worse about you.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes like I like that. I'm like, wow, I have emotions down there. Some things, you know, because you see people cry over stuff. And you're like, wow, they're crying over that. Why am I not? And then something hits you, and you're like, there it is.
Well, you can't. I also think you can't. Yeah, it's like you said, it hits you, right? You can't force it. Like I've gone to fields, you know, where my daughter has played softball or whatever, or soccer, and just you know, and I watch parents go, "What are you crying for?" You know what I mean? Like, listen, that's something obviously that person is going through.
Yeah,
right. It's not like it's your kid who wants something and you're not going to give it to him, so to throw a tantrum. That's not crying. Tears just come with the screaming, right? It just forces out. So like I tell my son all the time, like when he cries, I'm like, it's all right, man. It's okay to cry. And I tell him that it's okay to cry. Yeah. Because I was just, you fucking fairy. Like, you know what I mean, that's all it was with for me growing up, man. But you know, going back to you know, to like if you know, I just think getting help is the main thing.
And I'm hoping you're right. And I'm hoping even this podcast, I mean, we put it out free, and obviously,
it's free. 100%.
You know, you're getting certified. I'm no doctor, but hoping this can help people out there, just even listening on their morning ride to work. You know what I mean? Like these guys get it. I'm going to guarantee you right now that is my brother.
Probably
you know?
Just being jealous.
I'm going to step away for a second.
That's all right. He's another guy that needs help. Was it him? You should have put the phone. we go. We're back.
Back.
They're recording?
Still recording.
Nice.
I'm not worried about all the stuff that we fixed.
All right. You can edit all that mess out.
Yeah, a lot of mess going on in the first episode
Edit
here.
that
You can
mess
see
out.
how much anxiety ridden I am. This is why, you know.
Yeah, but like, so we're talking about like, just kind of, you know, just getting out. Fire TV.
Fire TV.
Yeah, you're talking about getting help, man, and that's the biggest thing too. You're talking about the podcast and what the goal is.
Yeah, so hopefully this is going to help other people out there on their ride to work. Maybe take one of our episodes and say, hey, to your wife, go listen to something.
Right.
You know, go listen to this. These guys, kind of how I've been feeling. I can't express myself. Whatever it may be. You know, a lot of the stuff we're going to get. Like, I want to start getting into bullying. That was something I went through a lot in my life.
Oh, you mean you want to talk about it? I thought like, you're going to start getting the bullying. Like, all right, where are we going?
No,
where are we
I want to
going?
start talking about it.
Taylor, we're going to go to a high school and just get outside.
Exactly.
Where'd
yeah.
you get those sneakers? You're
You know, how do
poor.
I cope with depression and anxiety? I go right down to the local elementary school and I scream out, "Little Billy," and I beat his ass under the slide. No,
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it's just something that I've been through a lot of my younger years. I know, you know, kids are still going through it, and I want to give my positive view on it. You know, it's a lot of during the time it's fucking negative and you can't believe this is happening to you. But when you get older, there's a big reward from it, or at least for me.
Yeah,
you're not saying everybody wants to go out there and get bullied. It's whatever everybody should go out there and get bullied. It's not what I'm saying at all. It's a very fucked up thing. But if you're going through it, or if you went through it, it's not something that you need to carry your whole life. It's something that you can take a lot of strengths from.
Right, and that's not just unique to bullying, right? That's to a lot of things in life. Anytime you deal with any adversity, right, it can make you stronger, and it's you know, like I don't like I came from like a lot of traumatic stories, and we'll get into in other episodes that I have no problem talking about. You know, and they just wired me different now, and they gave me the strength to be able to look back on how to deal with, and you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, well when I went through that, it does make you stronger. But I'm only dealing with these stuff later on, and like, cause like I said, now I do see a therapist now, but I'm only as of like recent starting to deal with this stuff. And the weird thing about depression, especially for women to understand too, is that when a man, and women's depression manifests different.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't manifest like the way it does for a man. So and it's a fact, by the way. So you can, again, it's not against you girls. When a man has depression, right, he wants help, but he just doesn't know how to ask for it, because you feel it's almost like we were talking about, like, it's not okay to ask, but there's another side of depression too, that we're not worthy of help.
Right.
Right. At least the way it was for me. Right. So when I got depressed, I just felt like I wasn't worthy of help. A few weeks ago, I was going through some shit, and I was supposed to come out to you, but you had got fucking too drunk which was fine, And I text you and it's like, hey man, you know, we're going to do something. And I was already driving out to your house, and you were like, let's just cancel because whatever. And even then, like, I would have loved to had someone to get through that moment with. Like, no, it wasn't a dark moment, but I don't think it was a dark moment. But I would have just, instead of me just saying, hey man, I'm having a shitty night, I'll get drunk with you, even though I don't really drink, right? I'll say like, I'll hang out with you, because like I just needed something like I didn't even have, you know, and even someone who's been through, I don't want to say training, but I've been through studies, I've been through all this stuff, and I should be more advanced. But even I was kind of not okay. I was scared or not worthy of saying, hey man, I kind of need help. And you know, but that's so I went to the movies instead. Like, you know what I mean? By myself. At like 9 o'clock at night, which is fine. I can't remember the last time I went to the movies on a Saturday night, because I'm always doing stand up, and I can't believe how annoying people are in the movie theater. And I was losing my mind. But whatever. So not only like do we go to this road of like we can't ask for help, we're not worthy of help, and then when we get that, the more we get that way, the more we need help, right? So it's just a vicious cycle. Like we want to get help, we're not worthy of help. You need help. Now I go down further. I need help. I want help. I can't get it. I can't ask for it. I'm not worthy. So now you're at the bottom of the barrel.
And then you always feel like no one understands, you know, especially because whatever you may be dealing with, someone else may not. It could be a significant other too. You know, there's been times where I've hinted and I've tried to, you know, talk to her or you know, mention certain things, and I'm like, gosh, she's not into it, or she's not going to get it. You just bury it back. You pull it right back in and you bury it again. You know what I mean?
And it's not their fault either, right?
No, it's not their fault at all.
It's not
women's fault. It's not another friend's fault. It's no one else's fault. It's just
that you don't know how to articulate
Yeah.
what's going on in your heart, in your head.
And a lot of, because I have anxiety too. So it's like what's going on in my head, I want to explain, and sometimes it just does not come out the way that I'm feeling inside. Like I want to say I'm feeling this and it just doesn't come out, like even now, you know what I mean?
Right.
Trying to explain it. So that's crippling at times. But as I said, I think this podcast is going to be even good for me,
Yeah.
if it helps anybody else out there too, I hope it does. I mean, that's the reason why we're doing this.
No, it does.
I hope it helps you. I hope it just.
And it will, because I'm excited to do it. And like, even like I said, towards women, like I can tell you now, we want to talk about it.
Yep. There's some women I want to get on this podcast,
Yeah, and you'll ask the question, and you'll probably hear this episode, you'll go to your man, you go, hey, you okay?
Yeah.
And he'll go, yeah, I'm fine. Ask him again.
Yep.
Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Ask him again.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Don't give up, because I can guarantee you he wants to talk about it. And listen, there'll be nothing better than to have him talk to you about it, as opposed to talking. Like, he can go to a therapist. I believe you should go to a therapist, because they're going to find a therapist will dig down to find a root of what got you there. Trust me, they do.
Yeah.
A good one will, at least. They will get to the root of what you're there. And usually, listen, anxiety is, and on paper it sounds so silly, right?
Yeah.
On paper it sounds so silly. Anxiety is the fear of the future.
Okay.
Right? It's
Right.
the fear of the future, right? Like, I don't suffer from anxiety, but I've had some moments of anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm driving to a gig, all of a sudden I hit traffic. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. I'm going to get yelled at. Well, hang on a second. I left my house at the normal time I leave.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot control the traffic that's in front of me. Now, this is not me meditating or saying this out loud or anything, because it sounds very like hippie-ish. But I'm like, once you learn to like I can't control this, let it go.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I don't suffer from anxiety. But so anxiety is a fear of the future, right? Of what could go wrong in the future, right? Like I saw you this morning.
That makes 100% sense. Yeah.
Right. Your stuff was going wrong. The tech was going wrong this morning. And you started to panic, because I'm sitting here calm. You're probably thinking like, yeah, I'm he's keeping him waiting. He's sitting there just looking at me.
Exactly.
But I don't care. I'm here.
I know. I know.
You know what I mean?
It's something you just carry. And
So if you do have anxiety, if you do
so.
have anxiety, at least I want to give something to take away with, for you, is that anxiety is like, write down the things that are giving you anxiety in your life. Write them down, a list. If it's 5 things, if it's 50 things, and you take a marker and you just put a line through. That's what we were kind of half talking about last night in the car. Put a line through what is definitely not in your control.
Yeah.
Right? I have anxiety about, well, what if it rains on Saturday? Right? I was planning on doing this picnic outside. What if it rains on Saturday?
Right.
You put a line through the weather, because you can't fucking change the weather. You can't control it. That's out of your hands. Right? So those are some tips of dealing with anxiety. And anxiety it's a horrible thing to deal with, right? Yeah. It really is, because it's just constant fear. It's constant pressure.
Especially if you're taking care of your family and you got to worry about, keeping that job, second job,
right?
Trying to keep mouths fed and stuff like that, which I guarantee you a lot of men deal with. I mean, a lot of men are ridden with anxiety, even if they don't think they are.
Yeah, some people can't identify it.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Like, I'm stressed. Like, maybe it's not stress. Like, maybe because stress is, my dog died, right? That's like that moment, like stress died. That's like, that's the kind of too, that's stress right there and then, like,
It's in the now. I guess stress is more in the now.
Yeah.
Right? Anxiety is the future. Stress is more in the now.
And depression is one of the worst ones, because it's from the past.
Right.
Right? It's from the past. It's some trauma that's just dropped in there. Like it's a needle in the haystack, and you got to go in and fish it out. And sometimes, a lot of times you'll find it quickly, because you'll know what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a repressed thing that happened to you as a kid that you can't find it, because you are so good at hiding your own shit.
Yep.
So you hid it so deep down that even you don't know what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like it stinks, man. It stinks. So that's where a therapist will come in. A therapist will just talk to you and help you. Like, if you ever go to therapy,
but they have that shovel in their hand. They're just digging.
Yeah, if you ever go to a therapy, you're almost thinking, like, why am I going to this lady? All I'm doing is talking, and she or he is doing nothing really. But what they're doing is they're guiding you down a road, and you're going to keep talking and talking until eventually you'll find it. They're not sitting there like a math teacher at school where they go like, I know the answer, but okay. Yep. Corey, what did you do? And then you add this and subtract that. All right, keep going. Yep. And then you minus where the teacher knows the answer, and then when you get to the end of like, yay, you got it.
Exactly.
Like, the therapist doesn't know what's wrong with you either, but they're going to help guide you down the road till you find it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And some people think, well, the therapist cured me.
No, and I'm glad you explained that, because a lot of people don't understand that from a therapist point of view. Like, exactly as you said, like, even my point of view, like, I'm just going to go talk to somebody. Why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as you just explained very well, what they do, the science behind a therapist.
Right. And a lot of things that a lot of friends do and women will do, your partner will do. And this is a good thing for women too. Like, also don't try to fix it. Right. If you're talking about your problem, just shut the fuck up. That's it. That's all you gotta do. You don't have to sit there and worry as a female or a partner or a friend and go like, how do I fix his problem? You don't have to fix it. It's not your job or responsibility. Just let him go. Let him just get it out. Let him get it out. That's all you got to do.
100%. Because sometimes that makes it worse too. Because someone tries to help you. Oh, just do this. Or just do that. Just do that. And you're in your head. You're like, think I didn't try any one of these? You know what I mean? You think I don't try every fucking day to just do this or do that? Do this, just listen. And then, but yeah, I mean, you're right about a therapist. I'm also glad that you categorized, the past, the present, and the future there. Depression, stress,
very
and
Christmas
anxiety.
Carol.
It is. Exactly. It's very Christmas Carol. That's Mick Thomas's version of a Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Tune into the Hallmark channel. It's coming out soon. But
yeah, that's my advice to anybody who I mean, for both sides. If you're dealing with anything, depression, anxiety, definitely suicide thoughts, please talk to somebody. Just go talk to. It's okay, man. It's like that's the thing. It's like people think it's not okay. It is 100% okay. Just because the thing is, like, the brain is an organ, right? It's a brain. It's the organ. If you saw someone with a limp, right, like, what's wrong with you? Don't know, man. I just might think, all right. And you see him like a few days later and they're still limping. Like, you might want to get that checked out. We never say that about the brain. We never say that about your head.
No, you never do.
Like,
you never go for brain scans and nothing really, unless it's like I got a really bad headache,
Right. But if you see someone that's sad or whatever down, and you know the person better, right? If you're like, that's not like him, right? That's not like him. And the thing about the people who are depressed the longest, like, I'm able to do it, which I don't do it anymore. I'm not proud of it, but I'm able to hide it.
Yeah.
Very, very well. Right. And I've lost 3 people to suicide who didn't know, like, you couldn't know to talk to them.
Right.
You just wouldn't know to talk to them. And some of them the day before, like, I remember, like, one guy, and I went to school with him he's back in Ireland. He was back in Ireland in Wexford, my hometown. And he went out, and the day before, his fiance posted, they had 2 kids, and she posted these pictures of them at the beach. Now, we know social media is like, it's a highlight reel of the best moments, right? So it's not real.
Of course.
But it's like, just laughing. We had the best day, blah, blah, blah. 7 hours later, he's gone. Jeez. Just gone, just like that. So, and it's not to put the fear of anybody, but just, just talk, keep asking. That's the point I'm trying to say. And if you have suicidal thoughts, listen, what I'll say about suicide is it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And it's not.
Agreed.
It's not needed. It's very, very sad. And I just think, we
and it's very heavy. It's very heavy. I mean, I've never, I guess, had those thoughts, so I can't talk about what it's like to have them. I just know it's very, very heavy on other surrounding members.
Well, that's the problem, because it gets passed on.
Yeah.
Right. It gets passed on. Again, and every person in your life, and this is what, and we'll go into it like at another episode. I don't want to get too heavy in the first episode. Yep. But if, like I said, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, but you're gone, but everybody else now carries the same pain. They carry the pain of, did I do enough?
Right.
What did I do wrong? Right. And they will live with that and I got tons of stories, and, I'll bring them up next, maybe an episode or 2 down the line. Yep. But they're the ones that have to carry that now. Right. So when you go, I understand you're in pain.
Yep.
And, sometimes life just like, it's not a good, I don't want to be here anymore. Right. I don't want to be around anymore. And I'd suffer from that. I'd suffer from what they call secondhand suicide. Secondhand suicide is where you're driving home and you're like, I would love to be in a car accident and just go right now. Do you know what I mean? Because you would feel the wrong thing to do is to go commit suicide because of the responsibilities you have in the life and your loved ones in your life. So you'd feel selfish, but you're like, oh, this is secondhand. Like, if I went this way, and it's scary, you know what I mean? And
it's got to be. And
these
it's
people
also
are going to be left with it.
Yeah, and they're going to be left with it. And no matter what note you carry, your kids, your wife, whoever it may be, is still going to say, this is my fault. What could I have done?
Everyone
to not. And no matter what, even you can write a fucking novel before you've done an act like that of, it's not you, it's not you, it's not you.
Yeah.
They're still going to think it's them, because who else could they blame? It's like, all right, he wasn't having the happy life that he wanted. I wasn't able to provide it, or the kids stressed him out, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
and it's
But it's like that in relationships too, right?
Yeah.
You know, the comedians will joke about it. They'll say
Yeah.
something like, they'll go, it's not you. You know, when the comedian will
Yeah.
make a joke, like when a guy breaks up with a girl or vice versa, a girl breaks up with a guy, like, it's not you. It's totally you.
it's
You know what I
totally-
mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that with this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not you.
Yeah, and there's also, but you see those stories, right, where people get there in time and they talk somebody off that ledge, and it just shows you the power of talking to somebody, the power of someone
Yeah.
understanding what you're going through.
Yeah, and I got a million of those stories.
Yep. And I think going forward, this should hopefully be a great show. I believe in it. I think it's going to help out a lot of people, and I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah, man. I just like I said, the message for the guys is just talk to somebody, anybody.
That's it, yeah.
Just talk to them. Talk to them. That's it. Find somebody, talk to them.
Yeah.
Even if it's one of your closest friends, then just tell your closest friend, listen, shut the fuck up and just let me talk.
Yeah.
Right? I know that's a hard thing to say. That's very presumptuous of me. I know I made that sound so easy,
Yeah.
like you could do it. But if you're a friend listening to this and someone finally comes to you to talk about it, just shut up, because you're not going to have the solution to the problem. Just let them talk. Women, just let them talk. And what I'll say is just ask. Keep asking. Keep checking in.
And that's it. Pay attention to how he acts.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you just may need to be like, listen, I see you doing this. I appreciate everything you do. I know it's hard.
Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
something as simple as that. And I think in the future too of the podcast here, listen, we're not doctors, right? So as you
Absolutely
said,
not. Absolutely
call a
not.
hotline, go see medical help.
Right.
We're not that far along in this, but
Yeah, we're a mess ourselves.
We're a mess ourselves. So, but I think it'd be great too. We're gonna eventually. I'd like to have a call in. If someone wants to call and just bullshit, get something off their chest,
Absolutely.
I think it'd be good.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is the place to do it.
So I'm just saying, like, on women, stop. You gotta, like, especially with the Viagra commercials. Like,
Yeah.
let us do our own
Let us
Viagra
do-
commercials. Hey guys, I can't get it up. Can I take a
get
pill?
it?
Oh yeah, you can. Don't stop putting hot girls on the bed. Because that, like, I always think, like, when you come home, like, you see those commercials and it's a hot, like a perfect 10, if you will. I'm doing air quotes for those who are just listening. Perfect 10 on the bed, and like you can't perform. Like, yeah, I think, this is a problem. Like, that's worse than a pill. Like, that's, you know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes girls, it could be you. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
We're just kidding. That's
All right. Anyway, I'm Mick Thomas. Thanks so much for listening.
Corey Brooks. Thanks for listening.
We appreciate that. And that was episode 1. We'll see you at episode 2. Thanks so much.
Thank you.